my 57 Austin Healey. It came with boxes and boxes of rusty bits. Trying to clean those up over the last couple of years has been a real problem. I've spent hours and hours and hours at a wire wheel, and just trying to figure out what parts I've got has been a problem. There's just weird little stuff everywhere like this. So I finally bought the Eastwood 5-pound vibratory tumbler, and this is my review of that product.
I purchased it. I've owned it for about 2 days, and it does exactly what they claim. This was a rusty mess, and it's mostly cleaned up. You can see there's a little bit of stuff like that I'll probably hit with a wire wheel, but 95% of this stuff was a mess and was complete junk, and I was planning to throw it away, and it comes out quite usable, and I'm gonna try to zinc plate it, and most of this stuff will probably be painted, to be honest with you, so I'm not really worried about the fact that it took off whatever plating was on it, but it came out really, really nice. Here's the problem, is for $79 it basically self-destructed after the very first use. And so I think it's a really phenomenal unit that actually has a flaw, a very fixable flaw right off the bat. So let's talk about this. If I can get that to focus, basically it totally stripped out the top of that rod in the very first use. And the reason is because, so this is the knurled knob that goes on top. And you can see that that knob has gotten compressed. Basically, when you screw this thing on, I didn't go super tight, but you want to go relatively tight. And it starts vibrating. And you got to run this thing basically overnight to get it to do this kind of work, which it does really well using the green media, I might add, that it comes with. And so the problem is the washer that they supply, which is this washer, is too big. Here's the deal. This washer, if you fit on there, it basically misses the metal. And so you end up compressing the plastic and pushing that plastic down. The plastic just doesn't hold up. So it basically needs a metal nut is what it comes down to. But what I found is that after it had destroyed itself, and I needed to finish the batch I was doing, I shimmed it with some big washers just to get above that stripped section, and then I put a small washer right on the very top. So basically the way this works is this small washer is the very topmost point, and it rides against the metal. I think if that washer were sized differently, it would have held up just great, and it would have been a great tool. Unfortunately, because of the size of the inside of this washer hole, the whole thing self-destructed, and it's got to be returned. And that really stinks because the tool did just marvelous work. I'm just absolutely thrilled with how it did. This was stuff that was junk. I've been slowly replacing all of these pieces, and there's some really there's some valuable stuff in here. There's some, for example, these little studs are actually pretty darn expensive, and to be able to have them and reuse them is great. I'm excited about that. Those will bolt right on the engine block. I tried it just with the polishing compound on some aluminum parts, and they came out beautiful. So there's a lot to like. I even threw a spring in there, which was a rusty mess, and it came out beautiful. Now, the biggest problem is that if there's any way that one of those green pieces can fit inside something, it'll fit 12 of them in there, and they'll jam. And so this whole spring was jam full of those green pyramids, and it was a real bugger to get out. It actually took it took way more work to get that cleaned out. But the truth is, it's beautiful, and I'm going to reuse that spring. And I would have never dreamed of doing that before. So this was really fun. That came out gorgeous. So a couple of these may need a tiny bit of wire wheel work, but I mean, not like the hours and hours and hours I was spending. So basically, you just throw your hardware in there. You throw your green media, throw some liquid of some kind, probably not water. I tried water, and it basically flash rusts the second you're done. So try like a simple green or something like that. But you want some moisture in it. So I filled the water up to the green compound top and let it run overnight, and the results were fantastic. And your mileage may vary in terms of what you get, but it's a really nice tool. It's just got a flaw. And so because mine started vibrating itself to death, I had to start adding shims and rubber bushings and stuff like that to be able to finish the load I've got. And unfortunately, the whole thing now has to go back to Eastwood when it was a real gem, and that bums me out. Don't buy the one from Harbor Freight. I mean, I didn't buy that one, but it looks the same, and the quality is absolute garbage compared with this. So I've been actually really impressed with this unit, and I think if I hadn't finished all of my parts, I probably would have gotten another one and just known that I have to replace that washer. Unfortunately, the job I was purchasing it to do got done, and so now I'm going to send it back, which I kind of feel weird about. But I have a tool that I have to rebuild before I have to do anything else with it. So anyways, I highly recommend it. If you change, put a different size washer on the top. That's the only key, and I think it'll work great for you. I paid $79 for it, which is a steal for what it is. It's a really, appears to be a nicely made unit. It comes with two different types of media: the green media, which gets rid of the rust, and then the corn cob media, which polishes. I don't know that you need the polishing compound, but it does, it helps. Buy yourself a strainer, a dollar store strainer, and buy yourself some clear containers, because you're going to end up doing some sifting and some sorting. I found that the biggest help for when you are done with the straining is to have a big magnet. This will save you a lot of time as you're picking out all the pieces. I just ran a magnet over it, and all the steel parts stuck to it, and it came out beautifully. So anyways, I highly recommend this unit if you make that minor modification to it. And Eastwood, if you're listening, just fix the unit. It's so close to being awesome.